Let's be honest, in 2026, learning to code in the old way is going to waste years of your life. If I were to start all over again, this is exactly what I would be doing instead. I would be using AI as my personal tutor to maximize my skill set. I know this is something that wasn't fully available 3 to 5 years ago, but I know how fortunate students are to leverage AI to learn and improve their skills. I will be building a lot of new projects. And when I'm building the projects by leveraging AI, I'll be asking AI to help me understand how AI actually builds those projects from start to finish, as if I'm a complete beginner. And this is something I wished I could have done, when I was starting out. Back then, I had to Google things, I had to investigate. It was hours of my time spent on understanding something. Now it feels like all I really need is make a quick question to the AI, and AI does a pretty good job helping me understand something as I'm a complete beginner. Even though people think or believe that AI is going to take over programming jobs, there won't be a lot of jobs. It's very scary, but imagine how much we can learn and build our skill set by leveraging AI. It's incredible. Secondly, variety is the spice of life. I would be working or building as many projects as possible to create a portfolio, not just to showcase the employer, because I know that it's nice to have a GitHub profile with a lot of projects, but it's really for personal satisfaction and just having a lot of hands-on knowledge. In the past, I know because of lack of documentation or not a lot of assistance, we couldn't build a lot of projects. But now we can build a bunch of projects using AI very, very easily. That's why it's important we try a lot of new things, try new tech stack. So in 2026, if I'm starting all over, I'll be building a lot of new projects, and sometimes it may not necessarily for one framework. Let's say I built a simple application using Next.js one day, and next day, maybe I work on building an iOS app, and another day I build an Android app. It is important that I am trying multiple different things. In that way, I have a lot of reference experiences on how to build, code or how to write software. And if I'm stuck with just one framework all the time, then I know I wouldn't be learning a lot of new things. That's another reason I highly recommend engineers to have work for multiple companies. So it's also very important that you work on multiple projects that are very, very different from each other, and try to have fun in the process. And I know that variety of hands-on projects is going to really help me, not only as a developer, but also showcasing them to my employer, especially because I'm just graduating from college or I'm just finishing at the boot camp. So employer would be interested whether I'm doing stuff in my spare time to upgrading my skill set, and portfolio is the biggest one of them. And one thing to consider when you're building those portfolio projects is you truly understand the inner workings. So even though I'll be leveraging AI to build those projects, variety of projects, I would want to understand it from start to finish, at least high level, so that when the employer or interviewer is asking me about those projects, I at least can tell them, this is why I built this project, this is how I implement it, these are some challenges I ran into, and this is how I overcame it. So, make sure you're prepared to answer questions, because interviewers are going to ask you, because I know I don't have any prior experiences if I'm just starting out. So only thing I can rely on is my hands-on projects that I have built, and I make sure I answer them really well. I would be focusing on building a rock solid resume. I will be going to a resume writer or going to a career service center, and I'll double down my time on building a good resume, because interviewer most likely look at hundreds of resumes and narrow down to 5 to 10 to interview. So it is important that I market myself really well by having a good 1 to 2 page resume showcasing all my skill set. It is also going to be very important that I master situational and behavioral question. I haven't mentioned technical question, I mentioned situational behavior. So I would be most likely uploading my resume to like a ChatGPT or Cloudy and ask it to create a lot of situational behavior question based on my resume and practice answering them, polishing those answers as much as possible so that no matter how many interviews I do, I can just perform consistently. Once I build a good resume and work on my interviewing skills, I also need to set my expectation realistic. Have a very good realistic expectation means knowing that this is a long game. I am not going to get a job in a month or a few weeks. Sometimes it might take 3 to 6 months. The important thing is to continue applying every day, continue investing at least 30 minutes to an hour, improving my skill set, but just have an open mind that it may take 3 to 6 months, but important thing is to apply every single day. It also means that having emergency fund of like 3 to 6 months so that if I am not employed because job market might be very competitive, I can still live off without a job for a while and continue applying and investing in my skill set. One thing I would not do is to wait until I apply for a job. This is the big mistake. I'll focus on applying every single day once my resume is like probably 8 out of 10 or really, really good polished by reviewing with a resume writer or going to a career service center. Once it's polished, I'll just continue applying and also continue investing myself. I know that some of the interview I'm going to do are not going to go well. They're going to ask questions, I may not answer them really well, and that's okay. Sometimes getting a job could mean just being in the right place in the right time. So think about it. You may be the most qualified candidate in the world, but if the interviewer doesn't like you, you still would not get the job. Trust me. I will not be applying for bigger companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google. If you look at all the news, you have noticed that there's a lot of layoff going on in those companies. They are actually trying to find a way to make their workflow so efficient that they don't need engineers or a lot of engineers. So my priority would be applying for local companies, like a local small to mid-sized companies who are looking for developers. I would be happy to get even an internship position to build up my resume. Because remember, this may not be the first job you're going to have. I know this may not be the first job, but I would need to have any job in order to further my career as a developer. So I will be looking for local development shop, looking for entry-level software developer position, and interview a lot of companies locally. Thankfully, a lot of companies are also remote first, so you may be able to apply for companies outside your state, but I think that local companies give a lot more priorities to candidates who live locally over out of state based on my experience. I would be staying away from Reddit or any form of social media platform for the time being until I land a position. One thing I realized about social media is that it is a good medium to spread a lot of negativity and consuming a lot of negativity. If you go to Reddit, there are lots of users who will be mentioning a lot of discouraging comments of how the job market is or how they have applied for jobs or struggling to get a job for over a year. And if you hear them or if I read them, I will feel discouraged. So it's important just to stay away from it as long as possible because they are not going to help me. So until I have something solid, I'll be looking for any social media. And finally, I will be making my self-care the highest priority. It doesn't matter if I have the best job in the world, if I'm the best programmer in the world, if my health is not in a good shape. So I'll still work on sleeping well, eating right, and work out consistently so that I can be a better developer. It doesn't matter if AI takes over jobs, or job market is very competitive, or my skills are not as good as it should be. But if my health is not in a good condition, or if I'm not taking good care of my health, nothing else matters. So self-care is a higher priority. So those are a couple of tips I would be thinking of if I'm starting over as a software developer in 2026 with no prior experience. If you are starting out your software development journey in 2026, what part is the hardest for you? Let me know in the comments below.